Good evening, and welcome to Acadia After Dark, where we explore the unexplained, the mysterious, and the downright spooky. I'm your host, Reverend Redbeard, and today we're diving into the haunted history of Bucksport, Maine, a town known for its strange stories and eerie folklore. Our first stop is one of Bucksport's most famous legends, the tale of Colonel Jonathan Buck. His gravestone, which today sits in a small cemetery beside an auto parts store, bears a mysterious mark, said to be the footprint of a witch he condemned. The story goes that as she was dying, she cursed Colonel Buck, vowing her revenge. Years later, Jonathan Buck passed on himself, and over time, people forgot about the witch and her curse. That is, until one day, when the town erected a monument in their founder's honor. A black stocking appeared on the stone, much to the surprise of the townsfolk. So they tried to have the stain removed, and to their bewilderment, it would reappear only days later. People then tried having the memorial replaced with a new stone, only to have the same ominous shape appear yet again. And ever since, that mark has remained. Now, I happen to live somewhere near this monument, and there's a historical marker nearby that does a pretty good job of summarizing the tale I thought I would share. The inscription reads, "This monument was erected in the memory of Colonel Jonathan Buck, founder of Bucksport, who died on March 13, 1798. The memorial, built of Blue Hill granite, was erected by his descendants nearly 60 years after his death. Sometime after its placement, the outline of a leg appeared on the monument. Making their appearance as well were the stories which became legendary. The variations are many, but common elements include Colonel Buck's condemnation of a woman for witchcraft and ordering her death by burning for sorcery. As the sentence was being carried out, the woman curses the colonel and concludes with, 'So long shall my curse be upon thee, and my sign upon thy tombstone.' As the flames consume her body, her leg falls away and rolls out of the fire. Her deformed son, rejected by the community, wow, this thing really goes off the rails there, grabs the leg, further insults the colonel, and flees into the wilderness. The curse is forgotten until 60 years later. The monument is erected and the leg appears. Attempts to remove the sign are futile. Historians will note the era of colonial witchcraft and infamous witch trials in Massachusetts were over long before Jonathan Buck was born. Additionally, there is no record of anyone being executed for witchcraft in Maine. Stories that the monument has been replaced are untrue. This is the original. The stonecutters say it was not unusual for granite to contain a flaw such as this stain, which appears only after cuffing and polishing. The outline can be removed, but it reappears when air oxidizes the iron. The facts surrounding the life of Colonel Jonathan Buck are that he was an honorable, industrious man who founded this community and was a leader in the early development, building the first sawmill, the first grist mills, and the first boat. Notably, the witch's curse was unheard of before the flaw in the marker appeared. So when doing my own research on this piece, we do have to wonder, what's the real history behind Colonel Buck? Indeed, Jonathan Buck was a prominent figure in the town's early days, and he did found Bucksport in 1764. It was formerly Buckstown. The stone was never replaced according to the official records, and indeed, there were no witch trials in Maine. There were no witches executed, at least in any official statements. In fact, interestingly enough, the first mention of the story didn't even originate in Maine at all, but actually from an article published in a few small papers in Kansas and Iowa. It didn't stop the town from capitalizing on the story themselves and turning it into an opportunity for tourism, which brings us to our next location. Fort Knox, not far from Bucksport, completed in 1869, is one of the best preserved military fortifications in the country. But Fort Knox isn't just known for its military history. Visitors often report ghostly encounters, shadowy figures, unexplained noises, and cold spots. 207 Paranormal has done a lot of research at the location, even hosts tours on occasion, so definitely check them out if you're interested in this place. While the ghost stories are plentiful, Fort Knox also has a rich historical significance. It was built to protect the Penobscot River from the British naval forces during the Civil War, and though it never saw combat, it's a fascinating piece of military architecture. Silver Lake, a serene and picturesque spot, holds a dark and tragic tale. The story begins in the early 1800s with a woman named Mary. Mary was known for her beauty and kind heart, and she fell deeply in love with a sailor who promised to return and marry her. But as fate would have it, the sailor never came back. Heartbroken and desolate, Mary took her own life by drowning in the lake. Since that fateful day, locals have reported seeing Mary's ghostly figure dressed in white, walking along the shore of Silver Lake. Some say they hear her mournful cries, echoing through the night, a chilling reminder of her lost love. On clear nights, it's said that if you look closely, you might see her reflection in the water, forever searching for the sailor who never returned. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the legend of Silver Lake is a poignant tale of love and loss that has captivated the imagination of Bucksport residents for generations. So if you ever find yourself near Silver Lake, take a moment to listen to the whispers of the past. You might just catch a glimpse of Mary still waiting for her love to come home. This isn't the only report of a lady in white here in Acadia, but we'll save that for another time. Next, we delve into the chilling and largely forgotten tale of Sarah Ware, a true story far more haunting than any legend or folklore. Sarah Ware was a 52-year-old divorcee living in Bucksport, Maine in 1898. She worked odd jobs, babysitting and cleaning houses to make ends meet. And on the night of September 17th, 1898, Sarah was last seen with William Trueworthy, a man known for his violent temper. According to Emmerich Spooner, author and Bucksport Library's assistant librarian, Sarah was making her rounds collecting payments when she visited Trueworthy. 2 weeks after her disappearance, Sarah's decomposing body was found in the brush off of Miles Lane. Her head was severely bashed in. A bloody hammer with Trueworthy's initials was discovered at the scene. Witnesses claimed Trueworthy paid them to move Sarah's body, but by the time he stood trial years later, the murdered weapon had gone missing, and witnesses had recanted their statements. Despite the compelling evidence, Trueworthy was acquitted. The case was mishandled, and Sarah's cries for justice were never answered. The site where her body was discovered is now a high school parking lot, a place filled with the laughter and hustle of teenagers, built upon the final resting place of a woman whose story was sadly never fully told. Before we wrap up, let's not forget to highlight a modern-day celebration that brings Bucksport's eerie history to life, the annual Ghostport Festival. Every October, Bucksport transforms into a hub of haunted happenings and spooky spectacles. The Ghostport Festival is a family-friendly event where the past and present collide, celebrating the town's supernatural stories with a fun twist. Ghostport also features a haunted Fright at the Fort, eerie storytelling sessions, and even a coffin race, a true testament to the town's ability to blend history with a playful nod to its spooky past. Whether you're a thrill seeker or just looking to enjoy some festive fun, The Ghostport Festival promises chills and thrills for all ages. That wraps up our first episode of Acadia After Dark. Bucksport, with its blend of eerie legends and rich history, offers a glimpse into the mysterious side of New England. Thank you so much for listening. This town is very near to Acadia and the place I grew up, so it's very near and dear to me. I hope you enjoyed learning a little about the things that lurk in my backyard. Try us next time as we delve into more tales of the supernatural and the strange. Until then, stay curious and stay spooky.